Hello there, gamerinos and gamerinas. Welcome to UnicornStorm. This is Rady, and today I'm going to tell you whether or not It Takes Two is worth your while. This is the third game from Joseph Fares. His background is in film, so storytelling is a big focus in his games. All his games do something unique, and it seems he learns a bit more about game design with every game he makes. His first game, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, was a game about two brothers who had to cooperate to solve puzzles and try to save their father. The twist was that this was entirely a single-player game. One player had to simultaneously control both characters, and each of them had their unique strengths and weaknesses. His second game, A Way Out, seemed more streamlined but subverted industry standards once more. It was presented in a similar style to the Telltale games or half of Dontnods games, so it appeared to be more of an interactive movie with a good number of minigames and QTEs in between story segments. The game was built from the ground as a co-op experience, and while both characters pretty much played the same, they had different roles in each encounter. For example, one player had to distract a guard so that the other player can steal a key, or one player had to drive a vehicle while the other sits in the back and shoots at approaching enemies. The gameplay itself was a bit hit and miss, but there was a lot of fun stuff to do, and it led to some hilarious moments where me and a friend were just fucking around instead of following the story, bullying a child we were supposed to bond with, breaking into an old couple's house and play the piano, or just watching TV, visiting one of the characters' wife in the hospital but getting distracted and having a little wheelchair balancing contest. And all these silly little things helped giving the more serious parts more of an impact. It was just a great time. So when his third game, It Takes Two, was released, I of course invited my friend over to really take it apart. And we had a blast. The first game was a bit experimental, and the second game was fine but mechanics-wise a bit shallow. But this game, wow, it is just incredible. So you play as the father and mother of a girl who wished that her parents cared more for each other. So now you've been transformed into two small dolls and have to traverse the house and the yard to get back to your daughter to break the spell, while avoiding all those magical, cursed creatures that are standing in your way. The game is once again designed around a two-player co-op, hence the name, where both players have to simultaneously or successively solve different puzzles to proceed. But this time it plays a lot more like a 3D platformer. It's a lot more mechanically complicated. You don't have to solve a QTE in a cutscene while the other player has to stand in the right position. You have to actually play the game. And while the game never gets too hard, it does require at least some level of precision or dexterity. Your characters can run and jump and slide and double jump and butt stomp, and you need all those techniques for platforming and puzzle solving, but every level has another set of additional mechanics to keep the gameplay fresh. And before I get deeper into this, let me just say that It Takes Two is a great game on its own and a great co-op experience. I read somewhere that most multiplayer games tend to be just single-player campaigns played together, but this game really relies on two playable characters who have to work together but can still have a bit of fun by competing with each other or outright messing with each other. The game isn't all too long, but that just means that none of the levels or mechanics overstay their welcome. And it has some replay value, not only because it's really fun, but also because you're incentivized to switch characters for a second playthrough, because each character fulfills a different role in every level. Also, if you don't have anyone to play with in couch co-op, you can just invite a friend for free to play with you online. All they need to have is the same system as yours, and if they play on console, an active online subscription, so PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. And then they can just download the trial version of the game and you can send a friend invite to play together, which is an awesome feature and, to be honest, should be standard in co-op only games. Or maybe could be an incentive to produce more co-op only games. So yeah, if you want to play a fun and cute game with some unique and creative mechanics where you find yourself in a lot of hilarious situations with your co-op buddy, then just go for it. If you have a buddy that you play video games with, or if you have a significant other that is at least a tiny bit into gaming, then this is the perfect game to kill a few hours and have a ton of fun. And if you're not sure or want to see a bit more about the game, then well, continue watching. But be warned, because I will spoil at least a few of the more creative moments in the game. So, as I said, you have your basic movement mechanics, like running and jumping and all the good stuff, and while it never gets too hard, there is a tiny bit of a learning curve to it, and you need a grasp on these mechanics to get through the game. But every level has a different theme, and depending on that theme, your characters get a different set of tools to get through the stage. And these tools have a use for just the character alone, for example as a weapon, but also in conjunction with the other character's tools. So one character has a hammer to hit things with and to also activate switches or break barricades, and the other character has nails as a ranged weapon or to hit far away switches. But you can also throw your nails at a wall to have them stick out and have the other character use the hammer to swing around the nails, which is pretty easy and straightforward at first, but gets more and more complicated as the level progresses. In another stage, the characters have different guns. One can set things on fire, the other just sprays sap that sticks to objects and makes them heavier. But if you set the sap on fire, it explodes, turning it into a strong attack, covering a wide area, and also lets it destroy obstacles that hinder your progress. Sometimes one character has to steer a vacuum hose while the other jumps through it to hopefully get shot out in the right trajectory to reach a switch. Sometimes one character has to steer a boat and the other has to shoot at enemies. Another time one character has to steer a plane while the other has to fight a squirrel in a beat-em-up style fight on top of it. Of course, after praying to the mighty rodent goddess in the sky, Acorn. Sometimes you have to complement each other by doing different tasks leading to the same goal. Sometimes you have to carefully maneuver around each other while undertaking the same task at the same time. And by exploring the different levels, you of course find a lot of little mini games where you can compete against each other. Or just some silly little contraptions where you can mess with each other. There is so much to do and so much to see in this game. And it's all thematically appropriate. You're playing as two estranged parents who are filing for divorce and have to learn not only to cooperate with each other, but also to accept each other, to care for each other, to respect their strengths, to compensate each other's weaknesses, and by that complementing each other. The game is magical and silly, and so this all works out better than it would be in real life, but it leads to some great gameplay and to a lot of fun for the two players. And it's just remarkable how far Joseph Fares and his company Hazelight Studios has come. Don't get me wrong, his previous games were great, but It Takes Two isn't just one step up, or two, or three. This is night and day. The last game was him experimenting with and learning about this ludo-narrative style. But this game marries all the different mechanics, all the different gameplay styles with these two-player focused core mechanics and throws it all into this wacky world where you can never be sure what will happen next. And it's just great. So grab a friend, grab a copy of this game and just have fun with it. And with that, I bid you adieu. Have a great day. That's it from Rady, and I hope to see you again on the next game.